so blessed to have her represent Detroit area in Congress, and we have really enjoyed working on this together because we share a real passion on skilled workforce, just like our panelists do. And I'm so glad that we've got our two panelists from Arkansas who are sharing their wealth of their knowledge here today. Let me start out and make just a couple of comments on why this is important. Every governor of all 50 states and the leaders of the territories are struggling with skilled workforce. It's a huge challenge. It's also not a new thing. It's been bubbling around for really the better part of 3 decades. And states have experimented, and we're going to share some of the wealth of that experimentation today, which is great, which is what we need to do. And it's been a principal mission of Congresswoman Lawrence and myself to do that. We know all the ideas are not in Washington, and that's not meant to be a cliche in this instance. It's truly that the innovation, the great ideas, the experimentation on both the education front, the apprenticeship front, and the solving this challenge front are all going on in our towns, in our counties, in our states. And what Washington can do is provide a little bit of guidance and a little bit of federal funding to match efforts out there in the states. But really, I emphasize that, a modest amount. And not too many rules of the road, because what's right in Michigan, in the Midwest, and in Ohio is different than the challenges in Arkansas. Different workforce, different demographic, different school attainment, different career opportunities. And so we're not going to solve this up here in some hearing in our education and labor committees. But we can sure be part of the solution, and that's why I'm glad we've got this skilled workforce caucus. That's point one. Point two is that I'm old enough to have gone to school when kids were trapped in the Little Rock public school system, and in a soft way, not a Germanic way. We're not talking Germany here, but in an American way. I had shop in 7th grade. Everybody's looking blankly because if you're under 50, you have no idea what you go shopping, but you don't know what shop is. And that nurturing of middle school kids to see where they're headed, to help them create the pursuit of happiness, or whether they're going to go into a trade, go into a family business, go into an apprenticeship program, go into the military, go on to college, go into a 2-year school, and do some combination of all the above. People helped you think through that, both at home with your parents and in the school. And so in our society today, it's harder work. And I think I can just speak for schools in Central Arkansas. I can't speak for schools across the country. But we agreed sometime in the early 80s that maybe everybody was college bound, and accelerated in the 90s. And there's nothing wrong with that, to say that we have to have high standards, achievable standards, and that we want people to have a certain base of proficiency to go on to college. And a lot of those things are needed in a non-college bound track. But I argue we don't nurture, direct, help, be paternalistic for those not college bound at middle school through high school, at least in my work. Somebody else, again, that's the beauty of this group, we may find that's not the case. And in Central Arkansas, we're beginning to experiment there. You're going to hear from North Little Rock schools today. But in the neighboring suburban county, the county of Saline, the 6 school districts in that county are going to come together and have a skills-based workforce approach to secondary school. And we see that in Greenbrier School District, which is the northern part of my county, where concurrent credit started out, where we're saving families money because everybody takes the AP courses, and it isn't to go and get out of extra hours when you're a freshman and sophomore. It's actually to avoid the hour expense in college. And now they're adding skilled trades up at Greenbrier. So you're going to talk about education innovation, where we integrate K through 12 and skills. which saves our family money, and I think it gives some of our folks, I'm arguing, hope for their pursuit of happiness when they turn 18. Because we know if you stay in school and you have that dream of what you're going to do when you turn 18, a lot of our social problems are made easier. I mean, big time. And we don't have to enumerate them because we read about them every single day in our districts and in the newspaper or online on the newspaper. And the second thing, the third thing I want to mention is this issue of midlife change. We had such a great visit in Detroit, and I was so interested in the hospital in Detroit, where folks who had been employed successfully in the building trades industry during the good economic days, who were struggling a bit in a slower economic environment, left the building trades and went into a radiation tech program there in Detroit and got paid while they converted their skill set from running a small business to becoming a radiation tech, and how happy they were and how successful that was. And so this midlife issue, I think, is a challenge, and I hope you guys will address that. And then the last point I want to make is what Indiana's done, Alabama's done, and Andrew Parker's here from Little Rock to talk about. Be pro, be proud, which gets back to my aspiration when you're in high school. What do you want to be when you grow up? What's your plan when you turn 18? And be pro, be proud is a joint venture between the state and the economic development officials in our private sector to provide that inspiration. And one thing I've always said is, do you know how much money you can make in a skilled trade? And you say that to a 16, 17, 18-year-old, 20-year-old kid, and some know, but some have no clue. They've been told there's only one ticket. There's only one ticket, aside from a fine career in our armed forces, is that they're going to go into college and they're going to go from there. But I promise you, every marketing major I was in business for 35 years before I came to Congress, and every marketing major I hired from the University of Arkansas or Vanderbilt, if they were 26 years old, got about the same salary. And unless they were exceptional or really excelled in some field of endeavor in our business, they just kind of move on up slowly. And I might pay them at the time, I'm talking about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, they might make $28,000, $29,000 a year. Going into our high schools and talking about the income opportunity in those first few years after you're apprenticed in skill is such an exciting thing for these young people to see, and that's what you'll hear about with Be Pro, Be Proud. And secondly, not only is it an opportunity to have that skill and be independent, but what I love about it is those jobs are fungible. You want no humidity? Move to California. You love the snow? Move to Detroit. You want to live in the prettiest place in America? Move to Arkansas. Of course. But the other thing is the chance for entrepreneurship. To have a skill, whether you're a banker, like I was, or a skilled tradesman, to have a skill is to have a career and to have opportunity. And to have a skill is a chance to be an entrepreneur and not just a wonderful, successful, outstanding member of a team. And so I'm really excited to have Brenda Lawrence as my colleague in Congress and my partner in this endeavor. I really wish I could stay, but I earned my keep for Chairman Henschling on the Financial Services Committee, and we're in the midst of a 24-hour markup. That's why I look so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. We only quit at 1:15 last night. So we're hard at it again today. I really thank my fellow Arkansans for being with us today and the other panelists, and I appreciate the chance to say hi to everybody. Do well.
We're going to start. I will introduce them, and then in the order that I introduce, you can give your report. We are planning on being here till about 3:30, and we possibly can go to 3:45 at max. I want you to know that today the objective is building the foundations for skilled trade. So couple things you heard the Congressman French Hill talk about is when a child is in school and we are pushing all of our children to a 4-year college, children aren't exposed as they were like he and I were in school at the same time, where everybody had an option of going to shop, going to home ed, and we had business classes. So shop was auto mechanics, wood, it's not carving, it's whatever that is you do. Wood shop, thank you. Wood shop. And you had all these opportunities to just, because some people literally, you'll see very professional people that if you let them do what they want to do, they're going to be somewhere being a carpenter, they're going to be somewhere working on their prize car collection because they connect their hands to their brain and they have that aptitude. So many times we are in urban areas or in rural areas and we'll see this high unemployment because the child was not quote unquote college material. But the only option that we gave them was a college education. Doesn't mean they're not smart, doesn't mean that they're not capable, but that was not the path for them. One thing they do in Germany, and they do it very well, when the child reaches the 12th grade, they're given 2 options. And the parent stands there proud. You can go to a 4-year university, or you can go to a vocational education. And whichever one you choose, they're proud. DTE Energy, which is our electrical company in Michigan, when French Hill came to Detroit, we went on site. Those men and women who work on those electrical wires, $100,000 a year, 4-year paid internship. And they can make more than that if they choose to go where there are storm crises in different parts of the country. Those individuals who are plumbers, ladies and gentlemen, there's a couple things you're going to do in life, and one of them you will always need a plumber. So there's never going to be a phasing out of plumbers. And in addition to that, who are the largest group that start entrepreneurships? Those are your small business, your welders, your electricians, your plumbers, your individuals electricians that can actually, you can contract them out. The last one that I found out about that was so amazing to me are welders. Now welders to me didn't seem very, scientific. It's a welder, right? You just put a thing on your face and put some hot stuff to metal. But I can tell you right now, NASA, Boeing Jet are crying for welders. We're getting ready to build an international bridge from Canada to Detroit. They are bringing in welders from Vietnam. And right now, there's different levels of welding. And if you get to that highest level of welding, you go anywhere in the country and now in the world and pretty much name your price. There is a need for a skilled workforce. And I'm going to close with this. When I graduated from high school, there was a labor workforce. So you could walk out of high school, go get a labor job, and because of the unions in Michigan, the factories and manufacturing, you could walk into a factory, instantly become middle class, and stand on a line and do labor work for 8 hours. Well, now technology, robots, innovation has limited our labor workforce, but we still have a need for a skilled workforce. And if the average age of a skilled trade worker right now is 53 years old. And if we don't start building a workforce to replace that, we are literally going to shut down our economy because we will not be able to sustain it without a skilled workforce. We always talk about the astronaut that flies the satellite or the spaceship to the moon, but someone has to build that ship for it to go into the moon. When we talk about doctors and scientists, there are lab technicians that support them. They can't do it without the support of a trained workforce around them. So we're going to start off by introducing our panel. Would you, are we in order? We're not in order, so I'll just read it. Tamala Brown Williams is a career-focused education supervisor from my district, and that's Oakland Schools Technical Campuses. Cynthia Shipborn. She is a workforce development consultant for Oakland Schools Technical Campuses. Andrew Parker, raise your hand. Andrew is the Director of Government Affairs for the Arkansas State Chamber of Commerce Be Poro, Be Proud initiative. Then we have Christy Tolan, who is the Principal and Director of College and Career Readiness in the North Little Rock School District in the North Little Rock Center of Excellence. We have Dr. Randy, help me, Leopold, who is the Superintendent of the Wayne County RESA, which stands for
Regional Education Service Agency.
That's it. Then we have Gerard. Gerard, would you please help me with your last?
Nagurka.
Say it again.
Nagurka.
Who is the Advocacy and Public Affairs Manager, Associate for Career and Technical Education. And if we could start here at the end, and how much time should we limit them to?
You guys guidelines like 5 to 7, but I understand some of you guys are going to go up to 10, which is totally fine too. More about the substance of what we want to hear from you guys.
So, because we want to leave some time for some questions,
Yeah.
but please cover that. I want to recognize my staff in case time runs out. I want to recognize Alex. Would you please stand? Alex is on my staff. Varun. This is my legislative director. And I have my media person who's holding the camera. She's live streaming us right now. And that's Nicole. My chief of staff is here, Derian Marshall. So now I'm going to turn it over, and please, if you have some questions, we're going to try to leave some time in the end. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I would like to first thank Representative Lawrence for the invitation to share a little bit about Oakland schools and our technical campuses and what we provide for the students of Oakland County as far as career and technical education is concerned. Our vision is that every student graduates progressing on to quality post-secondary learning. And that post-secondary learning can take a variety of forms. It could certainly mean progressing to a 4-year college or university, a 2-year community college or technical institution, an apprenticeship type of programming, the military, or right into the world of work. What we provide our students, we have 28 districts, school districts in Oakland County with 4 regional career and tech campuses where our students are able to attend there for half a day for a variety of career and tech training. We have 18 programs, everything from agri-science and environmental technology to health sciences. Homeland Security is a brand new cluster program that will start in the fall. I-Team, which incorporates information technology, entrepreneurship, as Representative Hill mentioned, was so much needed with our students. Construction, cosmetology, and it goes on and on. In fact, if you picked up one of our folders, you'll see the full gamut of the programs that we have. One of the things that we want to provide for all of our students, one of our goals, is that each student leaves with a certification or a credential of economic value. And that is a nationally recognized credential. So for instance, in our energy program, it might be the EIF Fundamentals certification. In our health sciences program, it may be a CNA certification or an EMT certification, so that that student has options when they leave high school, no matter what pathway, you know, whether they have to go straight into the world of work or into a 2-year associate program, they have these credentials of economic value which can translate into articulation credit, which saves them, there's a cost savings to the family. One of the other things, my colleague here is going to talk extensively about apprenticeships. We have 2 school-to-registered apprenticeships right now with our Oakland County schools that our students have been involved with, and it was something that we were very pleased to bring back. It was something that existed about 20 years ago, and now apprenticeships are on the forefront again. So we have about 17,000 students in Oakland County that participate in career and ed programs. Here they save almost $500,000 in articulation credit. They have almost 2,500 certifications, industry recognized certifications. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to my colleague here that's going to talk a little bit more about apprenticeships and our partnerships that we have established with Oakland schools.
Thank you very much. As was mentioned, I'm Cynthia Sherport from the Oakland Schools Intermediate School District, and my role in workforce development is a fascinating role. I love to talk about my role because it's business and industry partnerships. And without business and industry partnerships, our students would not know what that light at the end of the tunnel was, or that pursuit of happiness that Representative Hill spoke about. So being able to have those relationships with industry and work on what their needs are has been critical. We begin that work through our pipeline gatherings with them to really find out what their needs are. And in doing so, we've been able to create a couple of very interesting programs. We met probably 3 years ago now with our utility companies, our local utility companies, and they shared with us that, you know, they had exactly what has been talked about, aging workforce that is going to have a lot of need, and if we don't have anybody to fill that, we're going to be in trouble. And with that, they also shared with us what our students needed to be learning within our construction trades. Things like they needed to understand safety to the point of OSHA 10 being instituted, and we have instituted OSHA 10 training for our students so that each of our juniors are receiving that training before they go into their second year of CTE training. We were fortunate in that as the Michigan Education Workforce Development Consortium came about with a curriculum that supported the utilities, we were able to have access to the curriculum just because we had for 2 years been building that relationship, and it happened to be in front of us. Not for any other particular reason, but we picked it up and ran with it for 1 year, and in your packet, when you have an opportunity to look through your packet, you'll see a picture of our energy showcase where both consumers and DTE, which happen to be competitors in the state of Michigan, but have come together to work as one, along with other utility members on that Michigan Energy Workforce group, because they know that if they don't work together, they're not going to be able to do this. And so we brought them through, shared with them what the students were able to learn of that curriculum, and had our showcase. The top picture of that, and I'll just pull it out real quick to show you, shows our program that we're very, very proud of also, and that is in working with our apprenticeship group. So we have worked with 18 of our apprenticeship groups that have training centers where our students can go and be able to move into the skilled workforce depending on what their passion is. And our partnership with the Michigan Laborers Training Apprenticeship Institute and the local union board of that group, LIUNA, they were the first ones to raise their hands last year and say, we will build this pathway to apprenticeship with you. It's a 2-year program. It starts for juniors, and in that junior year, they spend 10 weeks during the summer, 5 weeks in the related training instruction, and we have really tailored our language to the industry language so that our students are beginning to learn and our parents are beginning to learn the language of industry when it comes to skilled trades. And so they have the related training instruction, and for the second 5 weeks, they are put in a partnership with a local contractor for that on-the-job learning that is necessary. All in all, over the 2 years, they will have banked approximately 400 hours of related training instruction and 400 hours of on-the-job learning. And as they enter into a registered apprenticeship and are entered into the Department of Labor's rapid system, those banked hours can now help reduce what the overall total of hours would be if they were just starting at 18. And it also has provided for just a fabulous opportunity to highlight what real partnership can look like, and they've been wonderful partners. Last year we had 8 students go through. You can see this group of students. It's not 8 this year. We actually had 17 students, so we doubled our program. We're really proud of the work that our partners have done with us. We had this year an issue where transportation was going to be a little difficult. It was going to be at about 1.5 hours to 2 hours for some of our students to travel to the training center. And before we could even get the request stated to our partners, they said, we absolutely will come into your county and we will do the training on site. And so that, we believe, is why we have the increased numbers. Very thankful to them and to our utility partners in helping us grow 2 really valuable programs that are supporting the industry needs that we have, as well as assisting the students in finding that and light at the end of the tunnel and being able to move into that pursuit of happiness. And I just will close before turning it over to Dr. Lipa. When Representative Hill mentioned that we don't always get to see the work that is going on, the hands connection. If you are traveling home by plane and it happens to be Delta, watch the commercial that they play. I was really impressed today because they talk about what you are going to receive as a service, and then they show the worker that is putting it together. So if they're in the safety video telling you about clipping your seat belt together, they are showing the member who actually did the work on that. And it really was a fabulous reminder that none of us do this alone. We don't get great service without somebody behind being able to have done the work to provide that service. And that is what we are helping our students understand.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Randy Leif. I'm the superintendent for Wayne Risa. That's the intermediate school system. We support 33 school districts in metropolitan Detroit, 10 of the largest school districts in the state of Michigan, 275,000 students, including the Detroit public school system. And appreciate the invitation to be here with you today. I want to take a second just to recognize Congresswoman Lawrence for her passion as it relates to workforce development and rebuilding our middle class. And I also want to recognize her for her support for our local schools. She is a known advocate for kids in our communities, and we're very appreciative of that. I'm very excited to share with you a current project that we're working on here in Wayne County that really is looking to increase students' access to an array of programs as it relates to workforce development and leading them to these good paying jobs. And we think this model that we've put together is not only a model that will be replicated in Michigan, but we think it's a model that could be replicated across the country. And so we're very excited about kicking this off. And again, it's all about filling the pipeline towards good paying jobs. That is really what the main tagline is as it relates to the work that you're going to hear us, that we're putting together. And so a little bit of background of what's going on in Wayne County, a little bit about our region. As you are probably all aware, the Detroit region is recovering from one of the deepest economic downturns of any metro region across the country. And as we're going through that rebirth process, there's a significant need to prepare a quality workforce, and of course to do that, build the talent in our region. And so we know that we have this challenge in front of us. And while we look at the economic growth that's required for high-skilled jobs, what we also recognize is that there's a growing need for the middle-skilled worker jobs in our region. And those are the jobs that are defined high school plus, credentialed, or some type of training above and beyond. In fact, J.P. Morgan just did a report recently that said just in our area in Michigan, there are 10,000 middle-skilled jobs being developed annually. And those include jobs such as nursing, machinists, electricians, carpenters, those types of what they call middle-skilled jobs that are there, and as Congresswoman described very eloquently, very, very good jobs right there for the taking in our communities. And so the question is, what are we going to do about it? And so when we look at our students, a few facts about our students. In Wayne County alone, we have about 17,000 students that graduate each year, and about 10,000 of those students are going to go on to college, which means about 40% of them aren't going on to college. And in fact, of those 17,000 students, about 11,000 of them will either go to community college, a trade school, or directly into work. That's a big pool. That's a big pool for us to work from. And so we're looking at that as an opportunity to make sure that they have really the types of opportunities they need to get these skilled jobs that we know are there. And so again, we've got this need in our community as it relates to developing a talented workforce, these middle skilled jobs. We have these students that are ready to do it, but as you all well know, many of them aren't quite sure what they want to do. When they leave school, I'm going to community college. What are you going to study? Well, I'm not sure. I'm going to university. What are you going to study? Well, I'm not sure. We see this on a regular basis. And the other thing that we have that's amazing in our area is a variety of resources that these students could be taking advantage of to help them not only make those decisions, but to get them going in the right path. And it was amazing to me when I became the superintendent of Wayne Risa, which was just a couple of years ago. Prior to that, I was the superintendent for one of the largest school systems in the state of Michigan. And as a superintendent for 13 years, I didn't know about 3/4 of the things that people were bringing forth to me as it related to workforce development. The Skillman Foundation has this going on. The Detroit Regional Chamber of Commerce has this going on. I'm like, well, I don't know about this. And that was the struggle that we were seeing, that there are a lot of good efforts going on and a lot of great programs for kids, but we weren't making the connection to the kids. And as you well know, in local school districts, superintendents, principals, they have 1,000 things going on. If someone tries to direct through the back end and try to make those contacts, they can make a contact once in a while, but it doesn't really spread as well as it could. And so based on that, what we see is not a good mechanism to connect students to these services. And so that leads to what we're doing in Wayne County, which is developing a one-stop shop of these services through an easy-to-navigate online inventory that will arm all students with the available options that they can use to create a career plan for them as they move forward. Our goal is very simple. We want to ensure that every school in our county is aware of every one of these workforce programs that are currently available to their students through this inventory that we're creating. And I'll talk a little bit more about what the inventory is in a second. But our goal, which is the goal actually of a lot of organizations that we've talked to, and their goal is, we need to get together, we need to talk about this, everybody has to know what everybody else is doing, but no one has really sat down and actually inventoried that. And of course, we've got the access to the kids. We've got the access to the kids. And so not only are we building this inventory, and we're going to train every single counselor in Wayne County on how to use it, but what we're doing above and beyond that is actually looking to hire what we call workforce development counselors, because we know how busy counselors are in the schools. Our counselors are overburdened with administrative tasks, testing requirements. Typically a counselor, which I don't think is unusual in Michigan, 350 to 1 student ratio. They can't sit down with these kids and talk about these programs. And by the way, they don't know about all these programs. They do not know about all of them. And so our goal is to take this inventory and actually train these counselors on this inventory so they know about every single one. They've actually visited the sites. They've gone to the place where they build resumes or where they have job training. They actually see what it's about. And then we're going to put these counselors into the high schools working directly with the kids to say, okay, what are your needs? What are your interests? Hey, what about this? And work with them on this. On top of having this inventory available to every counselor in all of our schools and to parents and to students. And so that's what the goal is, and that's how we're going to move this particular program forward. Let me talk a little bit about what this inventory looks like. And so what we've done is we've literally inventoried, and we're up to several hundred different resources that are available now. Several hundred different resources that are available that we've inventoried. And they're broken down in areas like this. Find a job. So we have resources that identify different programs in our county that help students find permanent employment, summer school or after school jobs, or programs that will help students get placed in a job. That's one area. Job training. Significant number of job training programs out there. Our counselors don't know about them, our principals don't know about them, but they're out there. And so these training programs to actually get students trained for a job, on the job training programs which are out there, training in employability skills, so they'll actually look good on the resume to be able to get a job. Those things are inventoried. Pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship training programs all inventoried under job training. Pre-employment training, certifications, and licenses. We've identified every single trade school, community college, different program in place where you can go and actually get a certification or license. And so you can, within 3 clicks, all of these things can be gotten to wherever you want to get to within 3 clicks if you're a counselor or if you're a student. And it will take you to a place that will identify all of these certificate and license programs, whether, again, it's at a trade school, community college, apprenticeship programs, etc. Career preparation, post-secondary and college programs. We've actually inventoried every single school, community college, trade school, program in Wayne County, and we've identified every single program that they have for a certificate program or a 2 or 4 year program. Every single program. So you can go to Henry Ford Community College and here's a list of all their majors. Right there, 3 clicks, you're there. So career preparation, making sure that they know all those programs, and includes every trade school that's available to them. College credit while still in high school. We inventoried all of the opportunities for students to be able to get college credit while they're still in high school, so they know how to access those programs. Career exploration, that gets into the programs that are in our K-12 buildings, much like was described here in our neighbors in Oakland County, that are available to students. We've actually got them all inventoried. Not only is this great for kids and for counselors, it's great for people like me, superintendents, because we've actually identified every single program across the county, and we can see where the programs are, because one of our goals is to have access to all programs for all kids. Also want to highlight career awareness, another big topic for us, career awareness. And so it's not just the programs that are out there, but all these programs that are available to high schools as it relates to career awareness. These programs start in elementary school and go all the way through high school. And so they can identify school camps, field trips, science, technology, STEM programs. If you're a middle school principal and you want to know a program you want to take a kid to, click, you're there, and there's a list of programs for them. A variety of other resources that are available to them. In your packet is an example of what the inventory looks like. I won't go through it in detail, but if you want to take a look at the packet, you can actually see one example if you were looking at if you're a middle school principal looking for STEM activities at the middle school, how easily the inventory outlines this work for you. We've got this inventory ready to roll. We've actually gotten some state funding. We'd love some federal funding to help us with the program. But we're ready to roll with this, and we're excited to get it rolling. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I want to first start by thanking Representative Lawrence and Representative Hill for the invitation. My name is Jared Nagurka. I'm the Advocacy and Public Affairs Manager at the Association for Career and Technical Education. We represent about 25,000 CTE professionals across the country, so that's educators, administrators, parents, students. And I'm honored to be here today to give an overview of how CTE, or Career and Technical Education programs, are preparing students at the secondary level to be a part of a skilled workforce. But I want to start by just asking a question. Why are we here? Americans ages 18 to 34 are the most educated in generations, yet the youth unemployment rate is double the national average. So what can we do to increase employment opportunities for young people? Well, the first thing we can do is prepare students at the secondary level with the skills needed to succeed in the 21st century workforce. And career and technical education is doing just that. So today's CTE in high school extends across 16 career clusters and more than 75 different program areas. Students can take classes in these career clusters and program areas to explore career interests, pursue career interests, or simply for personal curiosity to gain a real-world skill. So just to name a few, some of these career clusters include things like architecture and construction, manufacturing, information technology, health science. Then programs within these clusters are a little bit more focused. So those include things like animal systems, transportation systems infrastructure, manufacturing, production, process development, accounting, and so much more. But today, at this very moment, as we're sitting here, more than 7.5 million high school students across the country are enrolled in at least one CTE class. These CTE classes are delivered in a variety of ways, including at comprehensive high schools, which is probably what you're used to, and at area CTE centers. While every state's CTE delivery system is different, I just want to give a broad picture of CTE by outlining two of them. First, some CTE programs are offered at comprehensive high schools. Advantages of this include it's easy to schedule those classes, there are opportunities for cross-curricular integration, better connectivity to the rest of the high school experience. But one challenge is that for many comprehensive high schools, due to space, time, funding, or enrollment constraints, the range of options for CTE classes might be a little bit more limited. The second delivery method are area CTE centers. Those provide access to CTE either for students in a single school district or for students across several school districts. Some of these centers are strictly for secondary students, while some provide programming for adults. Some of these centers provide core academic coursework, while students can study full-time, while others only provide CTE classes. And some of the benefits there are just because of economies of scale, they can offer a more varied set of course listings and sometimes have more specialized equipment. Other ways CTE are offered to secondary students include magnet schools, career academies, partnerships with community colleges, and early college high schools. But regardless of the setting in which students access secondary CTE, they have the ability to participate in programs of study. Programs of study are essentially the sequence of academic and CTE coursework that aim to help students obtain a post-secondary degree or industry-recognized certificate or credential. One example of what a program of study can incorporate is work-based learning, which allows students to connect what they learn in the classroom to practical, real-world experience. Work-based learning includes internships, mentoring, apprenticeships, and another example of how high school students can gain workforce skills through programs of study are career and technical student organizations, or CTSOs. CTSOs allow students to explore specific occupations or occupational areas while also developing leadership skills and interacting with other students of similar interests. You may have heard of some of these, including FFA, Skills USA, DECA, those are all CTSOs. But ultimately, while programs of study may be structured differently across the country, they all eventually lead students, if they choose to continue on that path, to a post-secondary degree or an industry-recognized certificate or credential. Impressively, for many students, they're actually earning these credentials while they're still in high school. For example, high school students can earn industry-recognized credentials or certifications as emergency medical technicians, machinists, web developers, private pilots, and so much more while still in high school. Many students can spend weekends, spring breaks, summers working in their fields of choice, gaining experience, earning money, and being contributing members of the society before they even obtain a high school diploma. These credentials were developed in close consultation with business and industry to ensure graduates are equipped with relevant and required skills to enter the workforce when they graduate. There are other types of partnerships between secondary programs and businesses. For example, to ensure auto tech students learn and train on the same type of equipment used in industry, car dealerships or automotive repair shops often partner with local institutions. By aligning CTE programs with local businesses and industry, CTE not only prepares students for the skilled workforce, but for the in-demand careers in their communities. But CTE's benefits are realized more broadly than just whether or not a student earns a credential or whether they develop connections with local industry. CTE also prepares students for post-secondary education, which we've heard about. As evidence, 91% of high school graduates who earn 2 to 3 CTE credits enrolled in college. What's more, CTE improves high school graduation rates. The average high school graduation rate for students concentrating in CTE programs is 93%, compared to an average national freshman graduation rate of 80%. So it's clear that there are many exciting opportunities and benefits for CTE students, whether students wish to pursue a credential, post-secondary education, the workforce, or are simply interested in enrolling in a course. But still, the CTE ecosystem faces some challenges. One challenge is that there still exists a stigma about what a CTE student looks like. In reality, though, CTE isn't for a particular type of student. It can be valuable to all students. CTE is both academically rigorous and prepares students for their futures, whatever that may be. In addition to tackling the stigma issue, CTE also faces an awareness issue. According to a recent report from Advanced CTE, less than half of prospective CTE students and parents had ever heard the term career and technical education. Only 54% had ever heard of career centers. However, when they were asked their opinions about CTE based on a short description, 89% of the prospective parents or students had a favorable impression of CTE and signaled their support and interest in it. This demonstrates that parents perceive a significant value in CTE, they just aren't always aware of the options that are available. But while there may be the stigma and awareness issue we've talked about, it's clear from an employer point of view that there is an overwhelming demand for a skilled workforce. This demand for a skilled workforce is commonly referred to as the skills gap. CTE plays a critical role in meeting the skills gap and responding to workforce shortages in the labor market. According to the Department of Labor, the top 3 fastest growing careers all require education beyond high school, but less than a bachelor's degree. Career and technical education is the very type of education that prepares students for those in-demand careers. And many of these careers are high wage. In fact, the 3 fastest growing occupations that DOL has identified all have median salaries greater than $50,000 a year. So, we know CTE is delivered at the secondary level, that it increases graduation rates, that CTE concentrators are more likely to go on to post-secondary education. We also know that CTE prepares students for high-wage, in-demand jobs. But beyond those benefits to students, employers, and the economy overall, the question is, why should policymakers support investments in CTE? Well, the answer is because they pay off. Numerous states have undertaken studies to examine the economic impact of CTE investments. In Washington State, taxpayers receive a $9 return on investment for every dollar invested in secondary CTE. In Tennessee, secondary CTE program completers account for more than $13 million in annual tax revenue. So simply put, investing in a skilled workforce pays off. At the federal level, the Carl D. Perkins Career and Technical Education Act is the principal source of federal dedicated investment in secondary CTE and provides about $1.1 billion a year to CTE programs in all 50 states. Perkins dollars support states, school districts, and post-secondary institutions to improve their programs and ensure that all students have access to high-quality CTE. Perkins in its current form was last reauthorized in 2006. A reauthorization bill passed the House last year nearly unanimously, but stalled in the Senate. And we're likely to see a reauthorization bill reintroduced in the House, actually as soon as tomorrow, perhaps. So policymakers can play an important role in strengthening the CTE ecosystem by ensuring all students have access to high-quality programs. Preparing students with the skills they need to succeed in the workforce is a win-win-win. It's a win for students, it's a win for the economy, and it's a win for taxpayer dollars. That's why I'm so thankful to the co-chairs of the Congressional Skilled American Workforce Caucus, including Representative Lawrence, for their leadership and for organizing this briefing. Thanks.
Good afternoon. I'm Christy Tolan. I'm the Director of College and Career Readiness for North Little Rock School District, and thank you to Representatives Lawrence and Hill for the invitation to be here today. I'm happy to speak to you today about the North Little Rock Center of Excellence. 3 weeks into my current position as Director of College and Career Readiness of North Little Rock School District, I was invited to a meeting that was hosted by the Little Rock Regional Chamber of Commerce. Local industry representatives, including Caterpillar, Molex, Dassault Falcon Jet, and L'Oreal, were present to deliver a simple message. Your high school graduates do not possess the skills needed to be employable. You need to fix this. So my response was, let's fix it together. That's what we set out to do. From that conversation, the North Little Rock Center of Excellence was born. The North Little Rock Center of Excellence is a STEM-focused college and career preparatory conversion charter high school. Personalized learning is the foundation on which habits of success and personal accountability skills are built. Students and families have a choice and a voice in the pace, place, path, and time of their children's learning. Students can choose from traditional, blended, and digital courses from 5 different programs of study: advanced manufacturing, healthcare, engineering, computer science, and transportation distribution and logistics. Within each of these programs of study, a number of industry certifications and concurrent college credits are available for students to earn while they are still in high school. Students may also choose to participate in an apprenticeship program in their senior year in the Transportation Distribution and Logistics program in partnership with Truck Centers of Arkansas and Daimler Trucks North America. One of the most important aspects of the center is that while we offer voice and choice to our students in every aspect of our school, we don't make them choose between college or career. We don't make them choose between the traditional high school experience with prom and Friday night football and extracurricular activities to participate in the program that provides technical certifications and workforce skills. In the Center of Excellence, career skill attainment is no longer an either-or situation. The Center of Excellence offers programs within these career pathways for college-bound students while offering programs for those who choose to enter the workforce directly or want a technical certification. Students can take advanced placement courses while earning technical certifications and acquiring habits of success. This is the key feature of the programming of our school and is essential to the sustainability of it. There were key actions that we took in the development of this program. First, we asked employers what they need and what the skills are that employers need to be successful in their industry, and they told us. As a result, we shifted our focus to allow student, family, community, and employer needs to drive our instruction and program planning. Next, we established industry review boards. We stopped talking and started listening. Industry representatives now evaluate our program offerings and curriculum with us as true partners. They inform us of changes in their employment needs and technological advances that impact our programming, and we respond by making changes in our curriculum and instruction. Also, in order to build a pipeline of students to feed these pathways at the high school level and eventually in the workforce, we implemented STEM programs such as Project Lead the Way, Launch, and Gateway in our elementary and middle schools. This has ignited the passion of hundreds of future employees for jobs of the future in Central Arkansas. In addition, we communicated STEM career opportunities to parents of students in K through 12 about the opportunities in STEM career fields. We promoted this to students by having industry speakers come to our middle school and speak and hold demonstrations. We also implemented a job shadowing program for our middle school students called Career Connect. Collaboration was essential when writing the charter application for the Center of Excellence. We held 52 meetings over the course of 15 months to gather input from students, parents, local employers, business leaders, community members, civic groups, state officials, and educators on what the school programming should include. The center's team project, mentoring program, and experiential learning program was developed as a result of these meetings. We set multiple pathways to success in each career program so that all students will receive the opportunity to obtain skills that will help them to be successful after they graduate, no matter what they decide to do or which direction they choose to take to accomplish their goals. Finally, we work with post-secondary institutions to establish clear pathways to certifications and degree paths for the programs that we offer. Our local community college actually built their advanced manufacturing program around our high school program. It's very exciting. In preparation for the opening of the Center of Excellence, we implemented pilot courses in North Little Rock High School that were developed in partnership with our industry review boards. Our goal was 50 students in our Introduction to Manufacturing course, and we enrolled 177. Our goal for our Introduction to Transportation Distributions Logistics class was 20, and we enrolled 76. We will graduate 43 CNAs, 12 pharmacy technicians, and 10 phlebotomy technicians from our healthcare program this month. We have 2 engineering design capstone projects with patents pending, and our first group of programmers has advanced to the semifinals of our state competition that is supported by our Governor Asa Hutchinson, who is a strong advocate and supporter of computer science education. As a result of these actions and the collaborative efforts of many, we have enrolled 467 students in the Center of Excellence. This is for our first year, and that number grows daily. Our student body is wonderfully diverse in their interests, abilities, and backgrounds. As our students graduate from the Center of Excellence, they will leave with not only a high school diploma, but the opportunity to have numerous certifications Habits of Success badges, and college credit. All students will have the opportunity to go to college if they choose to. All students will have the opportunity to move directly into the workforce if they choose to. The key is that students will possess relevant skills and knowledge that will provide them with opportunities and choices after they graduate and to feed a skilled workforce for Central Arkansas.
Thank you. We have our last speaker. After he presents us Go Pro, Go Tech, we'll open it up, and if you have a question, you can raise your hand and just direct it to a panelist. Zach will be calling on you as you raise your hands. So you'll wrap us up.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I am mindful of the clock.
Okay.
And if I had my way, I would have gone before Ms. Tolan, because I've been mindful of the work that they've been doing in Arkansas and Little Rock, and it's a star in Arkansas, and so I should have sat here. I had known. And if I'm going to try to go off script, not only for your own hopeful entertainment, laugh if you will, but also to try to speed through, because a lot of what I'm going to say is stuff that's already been said. So probably something you don't hear very often is take out your phones, literally take out your phones, except for you, yours is busy. Go to beprobeproud.org, and while I'm giving a few remarks, if you can promise not to just tune me out completely, as my wife does, then go through and look at what we have done. Now, as I was walking around today, as I have not as busy a schedule as y'all do, I took this incredible picture of the Capitol. Beautiful sunny day outside, and I show it to you knowing full well, having worked at the Capitol before, that none of you have seen this picture. You have never been outside during the day to enjoy how incredible these monuments are, because you are all responding to a number of constituent calls, whether you're the chief of staff or you're the, as I saw on somebody's card, the correspondence manager, which I know what that means too, because I was there as well. And yet you are here because you aspired to do this from an early age, right? Is that an accurate statement? Nod your heads or keep looking at your phones. You did that because somebody told you that this was a cool thing to go do. This was something that you should aspire to be a part of. And yet you don't go outside. You don't get to leave the cubicle that I also used to occupy. You keep your head down. You get paid very little. You can't afford the apartment that you live in, so you have several people that you're rooming with. And yet this is what you want to do. Now, how many people want to have 6-figure incomes and 7-figure or 8-figure net worths? I do. So I'm going to say that to say this. My dad's in private practice. He told me as a kid, go get a skill, do not go to law school. So I went to law school. And so he comes to work one day in his small private practice, and he goes in, and there's a water flood throughout the office. Panics, calls the plumber. Plumber comes to his office. She's there less than an hour, goes underneath the office, tinkers around a few times, comes back out and says, it's fixed. That'll be $350. $350, that's insane. I'm an attorney, I've been doing this for 2 decades. I don't charge $350 either, or $350. And she said, neither did I when I was an attorney. And it's a joke, but it's true. The amount of money that people can make in careers that are respectfully referred to as middle-skilled jobs will provide greater income potential for thousands of people than anything that you can go get from the finance degree that I got, in many cases the law degree that I got, or many other ones. And yet, we have decided, somebody decided that for my generation and the ones before me and the ones after, that this is not the cool thing to go do. I thought the cool thing to go do is be able to have an income that supports your families, that provides you to do something that you want to do, that you're capable of doing. That's what a professional is, right? So at what point did we decide these are middle-skilled jobs? Did the lawyers and the accountants in the room feel like they were, going to be less than if they decided that theirs are professionals but others are not? I have a significant problem, and what we've done with Be Pro, Be Proud is attempt to change perceptions that students and parents and teachers in particular have about skilled professions. These are not middle skilled jobs. You are going to any manufacturing plant, you go into any electrical company, go into any one of these 12 targeted careers that we have chosen. We chose them because they were identified by those 3 industry sectors as being the ones in the greatest demand. As middle skill, every single one of them requires, as has been said, something more than high school, but not much. But does that mean that they are less professional? No, it just means they create less debt for the person that has it. It gives you more opportunity and more flexibility. We have 2 big pieces. The website that I hope you're looking at. And in that website, we provide students with clear ideas of what these jobs look like, how much money they make, where the training is, where the jobs are available, and across the spectrum. And that's in response to students telling us when we started this project in 2013 that give us a clear idea of what's available and we will be interested. These are not jobs of last resort. They are jobs that should be as equal a choice as going to law school, if not more so, because you can accomplish more and do more. You can start your own business, and you don't even have to have $100,000 worth of debt, which many of us have, having done all this. And the second part is that we have a mobile workshop, and it's a 40-foot trailer that's being pulled by a Freightliner middle duty.
I was able to go on that.
And it's cool.
It's so cool.
Amen.
I tried to weld and I'm not good at welding.
She also was in a driving simulator, not our truck, but that was it. I have pictures if you'd like to have them. And it provides students, teachers, whomever, with various virtual simulators so they can see what it is like to do any one of these 12 things. And yes, it is not practical application. There are going to be lots of environments we cannot replicate, although it's not an air-conditioned unit. So in the middle of July, it's 140 degrees in there, so maybe you can. But it gives them a taste of what these things look like. And the 2 guys that we have that operate this truck are in their mid-30s. Actually, one of them's in their mid-20s, the other's in his mid-30s. They're cool. They're expressive. They're both in these industries. Actually, one of them is a graduate of the University of Georgia with a marketing degree. He could not find a job, so he went and got a CDL. And with that CDL, he went to a construction company, and then he went to tour management. And through tour management, we have him with us. He's 35 years old. He lifts weights every day. He's got a big ponytail. He's as good a looking guy as all of us wish we were. And the girls love him, and the guys think he's cool. The driver is a 25-year-old kid from Northeast Arkansas. He can drive every truck on the road because he's been doing it since he was 14. He had any choice of a $100,000 career opportunity in the trucking industry that anybody could want. But we stole him from a company that he's about to go join, and he has an ability to talk to these students in ways that guys like me and even older cannot do it. And that's the problem. The people that are part of this conversation are my age or older. And we're having the same conversation with the same people, same places, over and over again, and we are leaving out directing the conversation to the students in many cases. It's changing, but in many cases. So, 9 minutes. I'm going to quit. But as soon as we start changing perceptions that these students have from before they are in high school, then we're going to get ahead of this. It's not the fact that the funnel, this is my use of my geometry class, it's not the funnel that's the problem. It's actually the nozzle or the nose or whatever it's called. We've got to increase the size of that body of students who are considering these options along with others, and then we will have, who knows what's going to happen. So, with that, thank you very much.
Let's give them all a round.
So I want to thank everybody too. I know it's a little bit later than we anticipated, but this was so great. I love hearing what everybody here had to say, and I learned a lot of new things. And we're just going to open it up. If anybody has a comment, question, or something that they wanted to bring up with the panelists, feel free, raise your hand or stand up. Do you have any? Yeah, so we'll go right in the front here and then back there.
Hi, thank you very much for being here today. My name is Jesse. I'm a congressional intern here on the Hill. There was a lot of points made about the stigma that's associated with CTE programs. And as a college student, I know that a lot of my peers come into college and they don't know what they want to do. And then they stay in college and they graduate and they still don't know what they want to do. A lot of people don't finish and they end up dropping out. And so my question is there a sort of infrastructure that exists for taking a student that doesn't finish a 4-year program and getting them into CTE before they actually enter the workforce or move back home?
For the student that's at the college level, are you talking about?
Yes.
Yes. So those apprenticeship partners that I was talking about, in many different fashions. And apprenticeships are huge right now because there is funding that is supporting apprenticeships. I met a young man at the store the other night. He was talking about the fact, I'm just a laborer. And so I talked to him and said, if without laborers, we do not have infrastructure for our country. And I asked him what he was doing, and he told me, and he was kind of shy about the fact that he didn't feel he was doing what he needed to do. And I talked to him about apprenticeships, and he was amazed that they were available. Anybody can enter those. Adults that were in midstream and needed to get a new career can go into the apprenticeships. It doesn't have to be just skilled trades. We have good apprenticeship partners who have worked with the Department of Labor and in CAD design. So for robotics and companies that have our advanced manufacturing companies that have need, there are apprenticeships, and we're talking about with those type of companies, sometimes it's very minimal funding, about $3,000 to $4,000 to really switch your career around and go where you want to go. And with the apprenticeship that are unionized apprenticeships, those are completely debt-free, which we've had to change our mantra to meet the college message. And so we had a signing day for our apprenticeship group this year. We talk about it being the other 4-year degree. We have being debt-free, and we've really done some work to try to get that balance between what parents and students and young adults know about the apprenticeship.
And let me just add one brief point, which is how do we prevent the situation from getting to that point?
Yeah.
And the way you do that is robust, high-quality CTE where students can explore different options. It's what we call a CTE explorer, someone who might take a class in one career cluster and then decide to move on to another one. Because there are so many students, you're absolutely right, get 2 years into college, massive debt, $100,000 in debt, and realize this isn't what I want to do the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But maybe if they had taken a class in this certain subject in high school, they would have realized that earlier. So the value of CTE is not just allowing students to take a class in high school to prepare them to enter that specific workforce for the rest of their life. And for some students, that's exactly what they want to do, and it prepares them to do that. But for other students, there's also a very strong value in making sure that they can explore career interests before they go and pursue 4-year degrees or whatever they want to do.
One of the things I wanted to tell you, a cool new career. So I sit on the transportation committee, and we had a briefing on drones. There is a need now for drone operators. So think about those people who like to fly their little airplanes in the sky. That's going to become a job. The way that we do electrical lines when there's a storm, someone drives to find where the wires are damaged. Now they just fly a drone over that. So it's going to become a really big industry.
I'd like to add also, Oakland County has started something new with our middle school students this year with a STEM summer camp where students will have the opportunity to go through our programs as a middle school student to experiment all of them and then have a career development day and go through some activities about their likes and interests, career interests, so that when they begin to do that educational development plan in the 7th or 8th grade and plan out high school, they have had some experiences within career and tech ed so that they can make decisions about that high school programming at that particular point. As Representative Lawrence mentioned, you know, there aren't CTE programs in middle schools anymore. So when a high schooler gets to the point where they might want to make that choice, it is 10th grade going into 11th grade. There are a lot of other things on their docket. And if they haven't had a culinary class or a health science class or an engineering class that's going to take them away from their high school for a portion of the day. Well, I don't know how that's going to go. But now as a middle schooler, a 6th, 7th, or 8th grader, having the opportunity to visit our campuses, to go through and spend a day in each of the clusters, doing experiments, working on projects. Now they can have some sort of experience that they can relate to as they progress through their high school years and then make those course selections.
Okay.
So that's one strategy that we're.
So just to be respectful of everybody's time, I know we have a question here. Does anybody else have one? Because I think we're going to ask, yep, we'll just go the two of you, if that's all right. Have you guys both ask your questions and we'll kind of open up for answers.
And you can wrap up in
Yeah.
your answers, okay?
I'm Jean Brumley. I'm a Perkins Fellow for Congresswoman Slaughter. And first of all, I want to thank you so much. This was so informative, and I applaud all the efforts you're doing at the younger level to help kids find their way. When I was in school, we took the PSATs, but we also took the ASVAT. And I thought that was one of the most indicative tests to help students understand where their aptitudes were. And I used that to formulate what I was going to go into. Do they have any assessment type tool for kids to be able to say, you know what, I'm good at this, maybe this is a path I should follow, as opposed to just having them kind of randomly look around? A combination, is there anything like that that they could do, or that we could maybe push that they start formulating it?
And then before we answer that, if you don't mind, we'll have you ask your question because they're calling votes now too.
Yep.
We'll ask, and then we'll kind of address those and do a quick wrap up.
Yep. So my name is Shannon. I work for Congressman Carter. You guys mentioned a lot how sort of there's sort of the communication gap between the students and the job opportunities. And it sounds like there's a lot of work being done at sort of the local level to do that. What can we be doing, from the federal level? My member is really interested in having lots of sort of roundtables and things like that, but how can we really be getting that message out? What do you think we can do for you guys?
Fund the local efforts, is that right? Fund the local efforts.
Let me just briefly add on to that one point, Shannon. Perkins funding, which can be used for a whole bunch of things, in the last 10 years it's declined 23% when you adjust them for inflation, and so local programs are being hit really hard, and it affects the way that they can do outreach and all sorts of things. So restoring the cuts that were made starting in 2007 and beyond would be a good first step.
And then are there any other gaps there in the Perkins Act that you guys see room to have holes filled and things like that? Or?
Why don't we connect afterwards, because I know we're...
I'd like to respond to your question. In Michigan, we have career cruising that requires every 7th or 8th grader to go through and do some career assessment and interests, which is great. However, students very rarely or seldomly go back and revisit that, because what I wanted to do as a 7th grader changed 3 or 4 times, when I was in high school. So it needs to be revisited regularly with staff that can attend to it, rather than the social studies teacher or the English teacher that facilitates that process. So with a career development practitioner, so that they can appropriately direct the student.
I want to thank everyone for coming today. Again, this conversation is bigger than just getting someone to choose a vocation. It's about, I used to be a career counselor in one of my other jobs, and you know what your goal is when you're counseling someone, is to find what a person loves to do, get them trained or certified in it, so someone will pay them to do what they love to do for a career. And you'll see those people that love their job. I was a letter carrier one time, and the guy next to me whistled every day. He was so happy. He loved his job. He loved the fact that he could be outside. He was getting exercise. He was meeting people. It checked all the boxes for him. I couldn't wait to stop carrying him. I thought it was horrible. But that goes to show you, it's not about the job. It's about the individual, and if we do our job in education and government and agency to connect the dots, like you said, make sure that that communication is there, then we can develop a workforce second to none. And it's so challenging right now to see the number of unfilled skilled labor jobs and our unemployment to be what it is today in America. And as our industry have said, like our speaker down there, the chambers are screaming, give us a skilled worker, we need them. So thank you all so much. I'm gonna go vote. All the speakers just hang around for a minute. Safe travels, thank you all so much.
And also, feel free to pick up